Welcome to another Wardy's Waffle Farm update. Lots been happening this last week. I just wanted to show you something I've got a problem with this wheat here, sterile brome. It's something that we are having more of an issue with coming from the outsides of our fields. So I'll just flick the camera around and show you this. Yeah, this is on the light land where I live up on Lincolnshire Heath, and you can just see that patch there, and this here we've got sterile brome coming out. You can just see, thanks Nala, you can just see the amount of seed heads there are on there. We've got, there we are, seed coming in there, and it's a problem we have. We're going to pull this so that it doesn't drop seeds, because it is really virulent and quite aggressive. But we're just having a problem with these coming out. You can see some more there coming outside, out the hedge, into the crop, more there, and we're going to go around the outsides and just spray these. We wanted to do them a week or so ago, 2 weeks ago, just spray a little area just here, but we couldn't do it because the Polaris that we use a little sprayer on's got needs a new gasket, a new seal, because it's leaking oil, so we have to get that done. You can just see here, out of all that, that's just a weed. You can just see here, it's not wheat, all the way down through here, so we need to spray that bit out to stop it seeding. Yeah, so we'll have a look at that when we're doing it. You can see another patch there coming up. Another thing just worth pointing out with these wheats on this light land, how the dry weather has really affected them. When you look down into the crop, you can see there they're not as thick as they ought to be, and they have lost some tillers. And you can just see as well, still see little faint patches of the effect that the liquid nitrogen had on the scorch of the crop. Starting to grow away from it now, but yeah, just a little bit thinner than what I'd like. The ears per square metre are not going to be where they should be. Back to this week's update. We've had quite a lot going on this last week, as always this time of year. We've been loading out oilseed rape and oats. We've been spraying the sugar beet. We're going to have a look at the continuation of the spring crop germination, sugar beet and beans especially, and also we're having a quick look at the direct drill plots again. But the proper detailed look that I promised this week is actually going to be next week, where Agri are going to come. We're going to do a lot of detailed plant counts, look at root mass, and have a real in-depth study at that. So I'll have their contribution and their thoughts on the crops as well going into for next week. Anyway, that's it. Thanks very much. Let's crack on with this week's update. Thank you very much for watching. Come back with any questions as always, and here we go. Archie and Buster come for a little wander with Frankie and Nala, but Frankie and Nala have disappeared around the end of the trees there. This is right next to the house. So Tom's just going out with the Bowser, help Ruben with spraying. Got fungicides there, and more fungicides there. That one is pyraclostrobin, and we've got, put that in there, Boogie there, and then we've got some trace elements, fast mix, which is magnesium, giving all the crops this. It just helps a lot with drought stress when the crops are dry and suffering. And of course we've got the induction hopper we can use here if we want to fill it, but Tom's taking this straight to the sprayer to Ruben. I'm going to take the water straight from here straight into the sprayer and not put the chemical in the sprayer at the minute, but we can, because this tank is separate, there's 5,000 litres here, we can, if we like, mix that with chemical and keep that with water. But I think at the minute the whole lot's full of water, so we'll just have a look. I can't do this with one hand. Try that one. That's better. So that's full of trace elements as well. So yeah, just helps the spraying enormously when you've got somebody there backing it up. Of course, there we've got the engine and the 3-inch pipe work to transfer it. Yeah, so here is the chemical store right next to us, and that's obviously rainwater coupled into the tanks there. And we've got the 10,000 litre tank coupled up to the mains as well. Here's the chemical store. Quite low at the minute because we've nearly got everything applied. And then this is where the sprayer parks. and fills up. And then I've got 2 lorries here to load with rape, which I'm just going to do now. Got 2 more lorries rolled up for oilseed rape. I'm just going to weigh them in and get them loaded as well. Weigh tickets in there. Just need the registration number and then get this printed. So the second lorry just pulled on. We need to just put the reg numbers in. Hey. That's it, and then press enter and then print. And that's printing the ticket to start with his tear weight on. There we go. We'll get him loaded and then do it again. So this shed's starting to come right down now, the amount of rape that we've got left in it. You can just see at the back there now, starting to run down from the back wall. Probably 6 or 7 loads left in here, something like that, I'd say. There we go. So I've just loaded this lorry, just re-enter the registration number, which I've just done. I'd have put in the first weight, which was 15,240. 15,240. There, enter. Press print, and that's then doing the ticket. So total on this load is 28.64 tonnes. We then have to sample every load, so we've got a record of what we've got when it leaves this farm. So this is outside the weighbridge. So one at the front, and then we'll do one at the back. That's it. Into this receptacle here, we put it into there, and then we do a moisture check on this moisture meter. So just grab some rape and put it in the top here. Not quite enough, that dot there needs to go green when it's got enough in the cell. There we are. Then just press that, press it again. That will drop in, there we go. And there we are, that's the sample, moisture and the temperature. A bit higher that temperature is actually, and it's dropped it into the drawer down here. Agri have just turned up to pick up all the catering stuff, the chairs and all the marquees and bits and bobs from our drilling day. And it's in this grain trailer at the minute, so it's just a bit of a job. I'm going to have to back up there, lift up the hydraulic door to get it in at the same height if I can as that lorry. There's all the stuff in there that needs to go back to Lincoln. So I'm going to back up there, leave the hydraulic door open, back up there, and it'll be easy just to walk straight out the trailer there, straight into the lorry. Keep coming, bit more, that'll do, whoa. So there we are, that's a few gazebos, tables, all sorts of stuff from the direct drilling day. Here, so Crockett's just taking it back to Lincoln. This is the best way of unloading it, like this, and straight onto this pallet. So that's got everything moved there, and that's now off back to Lincoln, ready for another iFarm event, which we've got another event on the 17th of June. Great idea when you're backing, leave the back door open, then you can see right through the trailer and where to back. And I know the other way is lift up underneath, and you can see underneath, but look at it like this, you can see all the way much further back. So I'm just going to back now and put this trailer back in the shed, under cover, out the weather. Got people carrier on this side as well, which we're alright, we're missing. That's it, that's all backed in there, under cover, out the way. Just got to bring the other one in now. A few people have asked me what's the germination like from the Horsch sprinter drill we had in our long-term cover crop trial field, and yeah, it's quite good here. A few patches, the bit there not quite so good, not quite sure what that is, but you can see how dry and cloddy it is. But I think I'd like to have seen it on a bit narrower points, to be honest, than the 5-inch Dutch openers that it was on. But we've done a little bit with our free flow next to it. Bit of a variation just there, and I'm not quite sure what that is, but yeah, not too much difference. There's a few rows there missing, which I'm not quite sure what that is, why it's looking a bit patchy there. Looks like the seed was partly running out or something, but I'm not quite sure why. But that doesn't look like it's as good there. But when we drilled on the day, the free flow put the seed in just as well as the sprinter. In fact, you know, when you look at the soil crumb as such there, just the same. That's the free flow. Move on to the sprinter there. You can tell by the rows that's the sprinter. But yeah, decent emergence. But we have a little bit of slug damage here. Again, you can see in the leaves there. So we did actually give this a dose of pellets. You can see a bit more leaf striping there. But no, not looking bad at all, considering this was drilled April, this about 10th, 12th, something like that. The only thing I have noticed a bit with the sprinter is that because it's got less tines in the drill than the free flow, a lot less, it doesn't level it quite as well. And you've got a low patch there that the seed hasn't gone in as well, and a few of these patches dotted around the field. These are the barley plots in the 22 acre, looking really good. Thank you, dogs. Except there's one there not looking so good. The whole field did have slug pellets, and doesn't look like it's slugs. Mind you, that does. Just wonders why that plot should be so different to the others. But mind you, there's another one over there, or two over there through there, because the others look good. Skylarks singing away like mad tonight. Another one up there somewhere. There we go. There's three actually out here above me. I'm stood in a second year Countryside Stewardship winter bird food mix. This is from King's Crops, King's Seeds, and this is a wire mix as it's called. Lots of different species in here. I think there's 3 different species of kale, there's mustard, there's linseed, and there's a bit of phacelia as well in the bottom. And this is year 2, and when you look at it, the massive amount of cover in here got the main A17 you can just see in the background as well. So it's great having something like this that the public can see the sort of thing that we're all doing to help nature, wildlife and the environment. And when you're looking in the bottom here, just lots of room for wildlife to roam about in, but also lots of cover. And all these flowers are all coming up to pod, and they'll drop seed in the ground this autumn and winter. So this will be the last year we'll have this in. It's in for 2 years, and then we're going into a new scheme. This is the last year of this scheme. We've been in it for 5 years, and I've got Jim Egan coming out from King's Crops next week to go through all the options and look at the scheme about going into a new scheme for the next 5 years potentially. But we're going to have a look at that and see what options there are. But yeah, really pleased with this. Look at that from above, just a massive colour. And this is one area. This is about 1.5 acres at the end of one of our fields, and we've got 25 acres of these dotted all over the farm. Just checking on the sugar beet on our light sandy soils, and I've never seen so many broadleaf weeds, or the volume of them, even though they've had a herbicide. It's just incredible. When you look down on the ground, that's, if I can get the camera to focus there, that's obviously one from the herbicide the spray's controlling, and got some more there just starting to work. It was done 8 days ago, but it's, there we are, another one there just curling up. But huge volume of broadleaf weeds, and it's certainly ready for another one. Particularly a lot of cleavers coming there, quite big. Looks like they haven't been touched with the first herbicide. But yeah, we'll get in here today and give this another application. You can just see volume of broadleaf weeds there. Quite a lot, especially up there. And then compare what you've just seen to this sugar beet. This is on heavier land, a lot fewer broadleaf weeds, and probably slightly bigger sugar beet plants. Looking well down there in the sun. Just an interesting thing to show you how GPS really works well on these drills. We've got this machine that had, it was a contractor's machine, it's a Vardastat Tempo, and just looking how it shuts off each row individually. If you look down there, you can just see there's no overlap from the rows on the right into the straight row on the left in front of us. The drill was 18 rows, the machine 18 rows wide, so 9 meters wide. So normally you'd have had all those rows there running right out into the headland, which is there. So we sugar beet, we plant from the outside on our left. We go from there first, work your way in the field, and that was the last breed and the last row just there in front of us that we stood on now, straight down there. And then this is the angle for that we straightened off, drilling up, planting up from that corner in front just there. But yeah, really good how GPS switches off each row, saving seed and not overlapping into the rows on the left. That's modern technology for you. Now in a field of spring beans, and these are really growing well. Looking up the field, there was planting, we put 50 seeds a square metre, actually no, 55 seeds a square metre, and yeah, they're looking, when you look down on there, looking really good. Little bit of weevil damage around the outsides, that's insect attack, but insecticides, I don't like using them, and they very rarely do any good anyway. When you look at some of this, insects are resistant to the insecticides. So the best insecticide you could use actually is a rain, which we've just had a few mil, as you've just heard with the sugar beet this morning, 2 or 3 mil. But they're growing well, so they should grow away from the attack. A few little grass weeds here, just showing that we'll probably need taking out, and broadleaf weeds as well, but generally looking good across the field. And here, this was worked with our Simba Solo and the press last autumn when it was dry, and then sprayed with glyphosate last autumn, and then straight in here this spring. We didn't spray this one with glyphosate because there wasn't anything coming, and obviously that's why we've got these few volunteer grass weeds, bit of black grass as well. We've got to just take out. That's why it's growing. We've got another load of oats going out this morning, and these are the naked oats that we grow. They don't have a husk on the outside, predominantly for the pet food market, and that's actually what's growing in this field here as well. And if you remember from a video a few weeks ago, this is the side of the field that was rutted really badly because we were bringing sugar beet up from that end of the field there, here, and into the yard. And the oats here don't look bad, a little bit here, just a bit thin, just in the gateway here. But no, these are the naked oats growing here, and these were direct drilled after sheep grazed a cover crop. And yeah, looking really well, those are. We get, yield wise, we get normally around 5.5 to 6 tonnes per hectare. These yield lower than the standard oats, so that's around about, what's that, 2.5 tonnes an acre, somewhere in that region. And these are quite sort of fluffy oats. They don't weigh, oats never weigh as well as wheat. Look at the dust in them. You keep out the way of the dust because these oats are really itchy, these naked oats, not having a husk on. So I just need to keep out the way of the dust. But there was about 350 tonnes in this shed, and this is on the farm where I live. It's the rented farm, tenanted farm. And this shed, we just have some low ventilation grills in here to keep the shed right. And this, underneath the heat those are, and there's 2 little fans at the back behind that back wall. So that's how we keep this cool. We can't dry in this shed, really old shed. This concrete floor was all put down by hand by my father and the men in those days. So you can see it's not very level in the cracks, and you can see quite rippled. But yeah, this was all hand put down probably 60 years ago. And then these grills were put in probably 20 years ago. So still quite a few loads here. So that's that. So these I think this is the only load we've got going today. That's in full, just got a little bit too much on the back. And you can just see the oats over the top of the lorry there. Just shows how light these oats are, how little they weigh. Have to have a full body full for 29 tonnes. So I'm in the field where we had our direct drilling demonstration, all the plots. Quite breezy as ever at the minute down here, but my new microphone is hopefully helping. I will just unplug, see what the difference is. There we are, that's without the microphone, that's just using the microphone on the camera, and yes, you can hear the wind noise, so we'll put that back in. So that I was going to be doing a lot of plant counts in here. I have actually just done our free flow plot, both before the rake and after, which I'll show you because there's a slight difference. But Agri are actually coming out this next week to do some root assessments, plant counts, and spend a lot of time on this. So I'm going to leave all this plant counts here until next week's update. But I'm just going to show you 1 or 2 snippets at the minute here, just so you can see what you've got something to look forward to next Sunday's update, because there is quite a lot of differences here showing up already. We've got little Nala is asleep in the shade under the Discovery. German Shepherds are incredible for finding the shade. Tara was just the same. Frankie wants to be out. So this is the free flow plot, and the traffic cones here denote the area that we did with the straw rake long ways on through all the plots down there, just to see if there was a difference. And yes, there is definitely a difference on some of the plots. And if you look here that wasn't raked, there's not so much difference here. You've got some here cracks in the ground there, but here where we've done the rake, there isn't so many cracks. There's still a few you can see there, but generally it's filled them in. I'm now on the weaving Sabertine plot, and this is the area that hasn't been straw harrowed. A few cracks still there. Now on to the area that has been harrowed, which is just here. Still quite a good number of cracks, but the barley germination is looking good. This is the Amazon Cayenne plot. Cracking, a few slots there. This hasn't been straw harrowed. This bit now has, and it has filled in some of the slots, definitely around the seed, but good lot of seed here, plants rather, so nice germination there. Just a shame that this plot is the one that had the tramline mechanism on, so every 6 metre drill row there is 2 rows missing there and 2 rows missing there, so that will affect the yield. So somehow I'm going to have to do a calculation when we harvest it and doing a percentage adjustment. There will be a way I can do it, because every 6 metre drill breed here there's 4 rows missing, which is going to affect the yield. Shame really, because the plot's looking good. So this plot is the Dale Eco 6 metre trail drill, a few slots there. Then immediately we get now onto the area that's straw harrowed. Definitely a difference here where it's filled the slots in, looking down the row. Not bad at all. Now this is the Claydon plot without the straw harrow. No slots really here. Very interesting, but of course it moves a lot more soil, this drill does, than any others. Now onto the area where the straw harrow's been. And I don't really think, looking at it, it's altered the germination, but interesting. This is improving all the time, this plot, because it didn't look too good at the start, but not looking too bad at all now. This is now the Sumo plot, and don't forget this is a strip drill, the same as the Claydon is. Left the surface quite rough. And then moving on to the area that's been straw harrowed, definite difference there. Levelled it out a lot, and that's the plants down the row. Probably a bit thinner than some of the others, but the straw harrow has made a difference here. Now we're on to the disc drills. You can see definitely huge difference from what we've just been used to seeing, because the ground has just been cut a slot with the seed to go in, and probably more herbicide damage here as well, because you can see the ends of the leaves are going yellow, so a bit more pickup from the pre-emergence herbicide we put on. But yeah, that's the area, straight into stubble. See the cracks and the slots. Then moving on to here, it has made I thought it made a bit of difference, but it hasn't here now when you look. But looking quite good down the row, and this is the Horsch Avatar. But useful number of plants. This plot seems to be improving all the time. You can see quite a lot of slug damage here. There has been though, when you look at that leaf there, the hollowing of it. But yeah, it's been improving all the time, this plot. Looks quite good. Now we are on the Horizon DSX. Again, a disc drill. This is without the straw harrow. And here is where it's been harrowed. Made a little bit of difference levelling it out and filling the slots in. But that's looking good down the row. Last disc drill plot is the Sky Easy drill. This is the area now that hasn't been straw harrowed onto the area that has. And a few cracks there, but that's from the dry. But this is looking really good, this plot. Probably at the minute, maybe looking at the plants, looking probably the best at the minute, but we'll go do the plant counts next week to see. But yeah, really impressed with this one. So the last plot of all is the little 3 metre mounted T-Sem. You can see here, left quite a few slots open. This is the area that wasn't straw harrowed, then onto the area that has been straw harrowed, and it's definitely made a difference here. Filled some of the slots in. That doesn't look too bad looking down there, but there is less plants here, quite a few more gaps. And this is the area that was done before lunch when it was drier, and then moving on to the area that was done after lunch. Not quite so good, but not too bad. considering the drill it was and the cost of it. But I just think the plant counts here are definitely going to be lower than the majority of the others. I think something else that's also had an impact on the germination of these plots is the mobilisation of nitrogen, because if you remember when we put glyphosate on here about, when would it be now, at the end of February, no, beginning of March time, we applied glyphosate to kill all the volunteers off. We actually put some nitrogen with it. We applied 50 kilograms a hectare of nitrogen with it, and we do that anyway in our spring crops. And our Simba free flow drill, as you know, mixes quite a lot of soil up. There's a lot of soil movement, and so that would actually mix the soil, mix the nitrogen with the soil, as would one or two of the other tine drills. So of course the minute the plants germinate, they'd be picking up that nitrogen, whereas I think some of the other drills that don't move the surface so much, such as the disc drills, possibly the Simtech as well, they wouldn't be picking that nitrogen up till it's washed in, which is probably now, so that might have an effect as well. And I think probably that's why our spring crops look so good, because it picks up the nitrogen the minute those seeds germinate and put a root down. It's picking up the nitrogen, but that might have had an impact here. So that's all the plots. A quick look at to see what we're going to look at next week. So as I said, Agri are going to do all the assessments, so we'll have an in-depth look at this next week. So thank you very much for watching this week's farm update. Hope you've enjoyed it. Come back with any questions, please, and anything you'd like to see as well around the farm. I'm thinking of doing a farm tour as well, driving around and showing you a bit of the layout of the farm and the fields and the crops, farm roads and all that sort of thing, because all of that has a big impact on the farm and how we perform. And if you'd like to see anything like that, please let me know. I'm also going to do one or two guest visits, if you like, that hopefully you'll enjoy. Some of them are connected with farming, some of them aren't. I've got one or two lined up coming forward. I'm going to be doing some more of those going forward this next year. And I thought actually as well, I'm going to go around Newark sugar beet factory this next autumn, winter, and I'll do a full update from inside the sugar beet factory, so you can see how sugar beet turns into sugar. So anyway, until next week, thanks very much for watching. Click like, subscribe, and we'll see you next Sunday.